This is a podcast for immigrants, and today we are going to discuss being an immigrant when times are unstable. I'm here with my dear friend Kalpana, and my name is Natalia. So, Kalpana, do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Kalpana. I am a Canadian currently living in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I am an educator by profession. I host workshops across the globe for parents, educators, and also just people. That's what I do for a living.
Okay.
Natalia, tell me about you.
Well, I'm an immigrant with 13 years of experience. I left my country. I'm from Russia, and I left Russia 13 years ago. I lived in 6 different countries, and I am a professional coach working with immigrants who want to find their new home somewhere far from their real home. This is what I am. I'm hosting workshops as well. So the aim of this place is your well-being. We are here today to create the space where other immigrants can relate to the story we are going to discuss, which is, I think, very important, is how to feel stable when the world is shaking.
Fully agree.
Okay. So today we're going to discuss a few topics and probably share some techniques, some methods, how to manage the stress, what questions we have when things are just going a little bit crazy. And also, I wanted to say the reason why we're sitting here today is because about a week ago, there was the start of this conflict in the East. And this is something special because our podcast was planned to be a week ago, but on a very different topic. So I think it's very, symbolic?
Yes, indeed.
That we have this opportunity, and I think it's very important to share what we are living now, because we're just normal human beings who are trying to answer our own questions, and also to share it with you, because I wanted to quote this nice quote that I'm using every time, which is sharing joy is increasing it, and sharing pain lessens it, makes it smaller. Okay, so a nice quote by Spider Robinson.
This is a great first start for all of us because I think we may be from different backgrounds. However, we are all going through something that is similar, yet different in our own ways, right?
Yeah. So, I felt like it's very important to meet with you and to discuss, because what I saw on your Instagram really inspired me. Kalpana is doing a daily update because the topics we're facing now, being here in Saudi, living this conflict, which is very uncontrollable, scary, unclear, unstable, and something we were not prepared to face, also creates many topics like tension in the family, like tension in your closest family, managing your stress, your children, your family, and also those who are abroad, those who stayed far from you. So the first topic we wanted to discuss sounds the following way. Living abroad can be exciting, but also emotionally complex, especially when you go through uncertainty. Just a few words about how did you feel, Kalpana, when you saw the news on, was it Saturday? Was it just... Oh, it's just a week ago.
Yep. Okay, so up until a week ago, it felt like this world was just, quote unquote, a normal place. Like you wake up, you go about your day, children go to school, you cook, you go to the gym, kind of thing. When news broke about this whole conflict situation, I think the human brain immediately perceives it only as something very temporary. Oh, this is going to ease off in one day, in 2 days. And literally what happens is that when you start to realize that, oh, this is lasting a lot longer than we anticipated it, that's when things start to look bleak. And the example that I always like to give, Natalia, is, do you remember when COVID hit?
Oh yeah, I do.
Right? Like we were all thinking
that was
that,
chaos,
we were all thinking that, oh, it's going to be a week, 10 days, it's going to be, I don't know, 3 weeks. And then we went into this full-blown thing called lockdown. Do you remember?
Yeah, well, I do, yeah.
Right? And I feel like once the brain adapts, then it also becomes a lot easier on each one of us. So when it first came out, the first thought was, oh, it's not going to last for too long. And then it became 2 days, and then it became 3 days, and we saw it intensifying. And that's when I think it hit a lot of us really hard, going, wait a second, is this going to be something that is going to prolong?
Right, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
What was your experience?
Well, I will tell the whole picture. We're sitting in the swimming pool with my friend who came from France, and there is this sound that actually is the sound of thunderstorm. And when your brain doesn't have you don't have
A base range for
no,
it.
you don't have it, and you start to look for it. And I said, "Did you hear that?" And my friend said, "Well, it's a waste bin that just dropped off somewhere." I said, "Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit too, I don't know, nervous about news that I've read this morning."
Natalia, where were you when this happened? Were you in Riyadh? Were you somewhere else?
Yeah, it was Riyadh. We were staying in our compound. We
Right.
just came back from a very nice trip. So, and I'm somebody who doesn't read news that much, so I was not aware of what's going on. And the second time I heard it, I was like, this is very weird, So then we had the confirmation from the securities that we need to go back home because it was the explosion from, I don't know, the drone or something. And we actually felt safe. I actually felt calm, but I saw that my patterns that I had from, previous strategies are just kicking in. I found myself just being glued and just updating the news all day. So Saturday was calm, but also conscious of this anxiety rising because it is uncertain, it's unclear. For me, the first reaction was, what's going on? I don't have the information, I don't understand. One part was just saying, stay calm, the news are updating. And the other one started to panic. And this anxiety started to rise with days because the messages that we started to receive were so controversial. I will give you an example. A few days ago, like 4 days ago, I read that Ronaldo left Riyadh.
Yes.
And my neighbor from the downstairs was evacuated the same day.
Yes.
Because the company policy said it's very dangerous. And you are very, what's the word? You have different sides. One is saying one thing, the other one is facing the facts that are very disturbing. So on the one hand, nothing is going on. Our life didn't change except the schools are closed.
Yes.
You go, everything is quiet and safe, but you see people moving away and you start to ask the question, am I too calm? What do I need to do? But what I wanted to say, the following evening, just the same day, I read the news in the morning, the same day in the evening, it was confirmed to be fake news. And I thought, this is interesting. The way we're affected by news, also I received like around 30 messages from Russia, from my friends from New Zealand, friends from France, friends from England, everybody worrying much more than I was worried. So probably we're approaching the topic of, stress that comes from the outer world, not yourself. So that was super disturbing for me, but it also gave me the opportunity to see how much we're influenced by somebody's anxiety and stress.
And Natalia, I want to add something over here, and I don't know how much thought you've given to something like this, right? So as an educator, I've always said context matters, right? Everything in life has a context, and I'm going to give you an example, right? So I was born and raised in India, and I come from a part of India which has barely seen any conflict. So when something like this came about in the news, my first response was actually not to panic, right?
To the basics.
Because my
the world is
baseline,
safe, yeah.
do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
each of us has a very different baseline. And I think we need to take that into consideration when we start to reflect on people's choices, whether it is about leaving the country or staying put, right? What is your baseline? Like when you say that it triggered something in you, maybe you want to ask yourself, what is my baseline? Where is that trigger coming from? Because we look outside and we go, wait a second, that person is leaving, this person evacuating, the news said this. Each of that information that is coming your way is impacting you based on your baseline.
Yeah.
And I think that is the context most of us forget. And when I started to make these Instagram reels, I realized I was coming from that baseline. I truly do believe that that baseline has a huge impact. My husband, on the other hand, he is from Sri Lanka, and his baseline is very different from my baseline. Surprisingly, though, I have to say that he has remained calmer than I expected, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a base consideration for all of us, saying if we can ask ourselves this question, what is my baseline? Like if you came from a rather chill childhood where you were not impacted so much by world events, maybe then your baseline would be different in the way we react.
Well, I think what's important is to just be conscious of
Yes.
what is it that I feel, where does it come from?
Yes.
What's going on actually? Well, it's always good to be, you know, like in contact with you, but when it's stressful, crisis times, it actually like blows off, you know, it just shows bottlenecks, if you want, or all the tensions you've got. And that was so, it was just on the surface when I saw it, and I just zoomed out and I said, wow, okay. The more I watched TV, the more dramatic the situation felt. I just felt that my focus, my energy is just taken by this news. So, of course, I realized that the media's purpose is to give the news in the way they have to give. They've got certain tasks to deliver.
Yes.
And we can be influenced in a bad way. And also I realized that people who are surrounding you can be this impact to your well-being. So it was so evident to me, you know.
So I like to talk about that, just that one topic, right? And I call it narrative chasing, right? We have a narrative in our head, and we like to chase stories that conform to that narrative. Let's say, for example, I love eating spinach. So then all of my research is going to be how spinach is so good for health. Spinach is amazing for health, and spinach needs to be eaten 5 days a week. Right? You always use food as an analogy because I love food.
You love food.
Yes, I love to cook.
Well, Kalpana wrote a book about food.
Yes,
so,
I did.
So are you
also,
surprised?
yes. Right? We all want to chase a narrative because it fits our belief system, our story, right? Another extreme example that I always give is if I said to you, Natalia, come with me, let's go rob a bank, you're going to be looking at me going like, what? No, what are you talking about? Because it doesn't fit with your narrative, your storytelling. Whereas when I gave you the example of spinach, you suddenly lit up. Maybe you are also as interested in food as I am. So we need to, whatever information is coming to us, and I like to call it the process of discernment, right? Discerning information is basically filtering information and asking, does this information actually serve my larger good, right? And what I was noticing was that I did go through one of those days, which was a very, very low period. But then I had to recognize my trigger. And my trigger was that my son, who's not here with me, he called 2 days in a row and he was genuinely distraught. And then I said to myself, what I'm picking up is what he's feeling, not what I'm experiencing. And it's two different things altogether.
So worrying about his worry.
That's what it was.
Yeah, okay.
That's what it was. And that's when I became even more conscious about what I was putting out in terms of content. Natalia, you know me. I don't create content like, I'm not a content creator. But I began doing it because I realized my loved ones across the globe were reaching out in one form or another, checking in on me.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what it is.
I got inspired by this form of daily update. I made just one because I actually saw what Kalpana is saying in her videos about people being overreacting.
Yes.
It actually impacts us who are living the situation, and it also shakes your vision. And so I got all these messages, all these text messages cut into one video and just saying, you know what is very important, we'll love your messages, we need your support, but please filter your emotions. Don't get this virus of anxiety,
Yes.
propel everywhere. And I remembered, actually it was a very good reason to have this reflection, inner reflection. You said you had this slow down moment, I think, which is, natural.
I think, yeah.
Which is being a human being. We're all scared, it's something you haven't faced yet, you are just learning to live with this experience of being in an unsafe place. Most of us do. Probably some people already lived in countries where war started
That's the thing.
Yeah. So our baseline was life is normal, world is stable, and it changes in one, because basically what we are living now, it's anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
The chance is very small or bigger, but it's just having so many more scenarios being possible now.
Hey, when we talk about narrative chasing, I'm truly a narrative chaser in the most conscious form possible, right? So that very day, the second time my son called and he was really distraught, right? That day was a hard day for me, but I began acknowledging, I'm like, wait, hold on. What am I doing exactly? Like when I walk on the streets, I can go to a coffee shop, I can go to a restaurant, I can go to my grocery store, and nobody is lining up buying things in a frenzy. Yeah. None of those things are happening. So what exactly is my reason to be so fearful and triggered? And sure enough, and I made a reel about this, saying that I bumped into this couple, this expat couple, and they were just absolutely amazing, because the two of them, just like the man said, well, I've lived in this region for like 10 years. It's like fireworks. Life just goes on. And honestly, it was that narrative chasing of mine that brought this man into my purview, and I bought into his story. And then his partner, who was on the other side of the store, she walked into the conversation and she's just like, oh, I've lived here for 16 years. This is all good. And it's just the tone in which the two of them spoke. It really touched my baseline. Okay. Right? Yeah, so that story really touched my baseline. And I think that is the most important thing for us to learn, is that, yes, we have all of this information that is coming from the media, but is that touching your baseline, or is a regular conversation with a person touching your baseline? I think that's what we have to ask ourselves. So what I did in terms of updating family, because I was just getting bombarded with messages.
Yeah, same here. Like, I don't know, 40, 30. And sorry, I'm cutting you, but it was surprising, not closest family, because I was the one sending them the message straight away. I knew my mom would react. I said, don't worry. Yeah. Just listen to what I'm saying.
And
so
I think that's such an important one. So I began putting a WhatsApp status every day. Okay. And the status, all it said was safe with the date. That's it. So every day, people would just look forward to that status update. right? And that was my way of making sure that I wasn't getting bombarded with messages.
Right, yeah.
The second thing is I started that Instagram update thing where I began saying more of what I really want from people, because it is true that I am relying on emotional support from my immediate family, from loved ones. And in order for them to be able to be supportive of us, they can't be hearing from 20 million people saying, oh my God, I'm really worried. Oh my gosh, like they need to have anchor points where these people can approach them. Like my loved ones should be able to approach people and say, I'm struggling because my daughter is away or my son is away or whatever it is. And the third thing I have to say was I also recognized what my absolute triggers are, which is like listening to my son say that he's worried was a huge trigger point for me.
Oh,
So
wow.
I started to recognize what triggers are. Most of us are not aware of what is triggering us, right? And you will have to literally, again, like I said, it's that process of discerning information for you. What is triggering you? Is it the media? Is it friends and family, right? Is it the fact that your child is not going to school and is homeschooling and your work is impacted and the stress of your work is overwhelming, right? Or is it partner conflict, right?
Sure, yeah.
Because I know that spousal conflicts increase when there is stress from outside sources, right?
Yeah.
So we have to get very clear about what exactly are our trigger points, because the minute you start to recognize those trigger points, then you're able to help yourself better. I'll give a very small example, right? When I recognize that something is triggering, like the other day, I think it was a conversation with my husband, and I realized that he was feeling a certain amount of stress and he was triggered, and the tone in which he was speaking to me was like, oh, I can tell that he is stressed. But instead of arguing with him, what I ended up doing is, oh, I'm feeling it in my body because I've taken on his stress. So I'm going to actually go and be active. And it was like, I want to say like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, I went into the cold plunge because I knew I had to do something to cut that line of thinking because it was not serving my good. So that process of discernment and asking yourself, what serves my good?
Yeah, I really love that. I want to expand this idea because, you know, the thought I've forgotten earlier just came back. When I started receiving these messages and I started feeling, it's almost like uncontrollable, you know, because it's getting bigger and bigger. It's like a snowball. You're watching the news, your brain starts to create those images that it has seen somewhere and starts to be scared, which is normal. Because once our brain sees information it hasn't detected or doesn't know yet, it's a threat. So we've got this almost animal instinct of, do I need to fight or do I need to fly?
Fly.
So when I saw it, I said, well, actually, I have such a big experience of being in a situation like that. We talked about it earlier with you, COVID times. When the news came, we were all scared because, well, most of us, because we didn't know anything about it. Because I was in Algeria when COVID started, and I had to move to Morocco. Algeria got closed for 2 years. Yeah, the lockdown lasted like forever. Morocco wasn't very clear about the policies, so it was all so new. And I remember the first days. In this time I said, oh, it reminds me of this uncertain time. I remember the start of conflict in 2013 between Russia and Ukraine. And we saw how news are affecting us, how news are affecting our couple. We lived through an earthquake in Morocco, and it was the same. Like, we lived through so many things, and the first reaction is always inadequate to the amount of reality. And what I realized during all this, you know, and we lived through the conflict, you know, that started in 2021 between my country and the neighbor country. And I'm learning a very big lesson is, okay, what can I do? How can I actually impact the situation? okay, I cannot impact the whole world, but what I can do is choose my reaction. So every time I feel like, okay, it's just mountain, I feel it starts to be uncontrollable. I also use, the embodiment method. I'm doing any physical exercise, anything what's available here, and I'm also doing creative things. So what we did with my sons, with my children, we were locked during the first week. We had school online, so it's a lot of time in COVID time. So okay, you've got this restriction that you've got less time, but what can I do? Okay, let's be creative. Let's just change the paradigm to, okay, my zone is smaller, my zone of control is smaller now, so what can I do? I can create. Can I still create? Yes, I do. So does it impact my well-being? Yes, of course, it's contributing, my joy. We exchange messages with you, and you said I might feel strange because I still have this joy during these days.
Yes.
And I told you, Kalpana, this is so great. Just to be aware that, okay, the news are very frightening. There might be things changing, we don't know. We're all hoping for the best, but probably some of you will be living through very difficult periods of time. But the small contributions to our well-being, they're still there.
And I think, Natalia, it is really important that we get clear about what can I do in this moment. And it's literally the things that we are told when we are on board an aircraft. If the air pressure drops, please put on your mask before you help a loved one. I love that analogy so much, and I use it all the time. So in my case, that mask was cutting out too much of media information that was coming my way. Two is hanging around people that were almost like all the time saying, oh, I'm really worried, I'm really worried, I'm really worried.
You just start to boil.
Yes. And the third thing is truly having empathy for myself. Like saying, yes, in order for me to be empathetic towards world, I have to be empathetic towards myself. 4 is truly investing in food, the right kind of food that would give me the right kind of sleep and the right kind of movement or restriction of movement. Like I had mentioned, I meditate. So I, in fact, upped my game with meditations. And what I said was, okay, if I'm feeling so anxious, then I have to do it more number of times than I already am doing. Now, another form of quote unquote meditation for me was having those conversations with the right kind of people, right? People who had more hope. It's exactly what you started this whole podcast with, Natalia. You said, when you share, your joy grows and your pain lessens. Yeah. And I really, really like that quote, which I happened to hear only today for the first time. But you're 100% right. So I started to really be conscious about who I was having conversations with and what those conversations were making me feel. I asked myself this a lot. What are these conversations making me feel? And I have to say, I have somehow been able to pick and choose those people with whom I can have these conversations. Like I have a very close friend who lives in London. And between her and I, every conversation is one of hope. Every conversation is something not about the conflict. Every conversation is about something that we can invest into the future, which is not going to be about sorry about the interruption, which is not going to be about, making a change because of conflict. It's actually, how to publish our next book.
Or just, how are you?
Oh, how are you? Like in a really good way, right?
Yeah.
And the conversations with my sister I've really enjoyed because the two of us can be absolutely crazy with each other. And we just continue that because it really does put both of us in a space of being more, for lack of a better word, coherent. Right? So really making those conscious choices about, okay, if I speak to this person is very triggering because they really do come to me from hopelessness. And there's really nothing wrong in temporarily feeling hopeless, but long-term hopelessness does not serve your own good and the good of the people around us.
Yeah, true. It reminds me of just being frozen, this reaction of freeze.
Yes.
And again, our experience with COVID
Yes.
says you cannot afford yourself to freeze for a long time. It can last for 2 years, like it did, in Algeria or in Morocco, in many countries. It's just too long. Look, we don't have that. I don't choose. We don't need to choose it for us.
No.
This is something we can control and pick up and say, okay, my possibilities are probably changing. I need to stay flexible. Like the days of working in this month, they reduced to 2 per week for me. And I said, okay, this is my choice, not to freeze, but to act. Okay, what can I do in those 2 days? This is why I'm here, enjoying it. So what I wanted to say, the healthy message, we started with it. In times when the world is shaking and it's unstable, please be caring about yourself first. This is what you
That's
said.
the first thing, care for yourself.
And as an act of love and care to yourself, choose the right message that will actually protect you from everything that's hurting you. Because being away from your family is already living in stress. And also recognizing it helps you a lot, that you need to build up the whole new world for you. But living during the times when you are far from your family and the things are unstable, like political things, it also adds up so many layers. So just choosing an act of love for yourself, as saying to people who are texting you with all those worries and probably care behind it, just saying to them, please, let's just talk. And also what you said, just choosing, because we feel how people are impacting us. So just choosing what this conversation will be like for you now. I think this is the right strategy.
And I want to say something. I've heard this before, but now I've started to really embody it and live it, right? And this is unpopular opinion, but I'm still going to say it. Words are not powerful. It's the feeling behind the words that are powerful. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, oh my gosh, that was so chill. Oh my gosh, that was just so fun. And when I say those words, that I actually lived it. I actually had fun with it. Or I can say, oh, that was fun. What do you think? The word fun is such a different context in the second way I used it, right? So words are not powerful, but the feeling behind words are powerful. So I am driven by feeling, and the words that I choose to use are words I truly believe in. So I have been telling myself this with true belief in it, that this world is a kind place to live. I'm always surrounded by amazing people. I'm surrounded by fantastic opportunities that come my way. I'm surrounded by conversations that I want to have. And I feel like these words are fueled so much by the feeling behind it that I have that opportunity. Even in this moment, Natalia, this is a conversation I want to have. And the funny thing is that the conversation came about a week ago, but I have always wanted to have these conversations. So it's almost like I empowered what I wanted happening for my life. And that's the choice I would ask all of you to make. Like, make that choice. Ask yourself what you really want and ask for it. And don't say, I don't want war. I don't want to feel stuck. I don't want to feel sad, because a lot of us seem to be going after what we don't want with a lot of intention. And the opposite of sadness we think is joy, but I think the opposite of sadness is actually thriving, right? Yeah. And what if we went after not feeling sad, but after thriving?
You know what's funny? The first name of my company is thriving abroad. I then changed
Oh
it to
my gosh,
well-being abroad.
look at that.
So well-being or thriving, choose the one you want. This is so important. I'm a linguist. My base is a linguist, so I believe in words. I also believe in feelings. What you are saying is very important because you know the law of attraction. We all know. We all heard about it. So yeah, I really love this advice to be careful. It's not be careful. Again, be caring about yourself and choose what you want. I want to feel safe. That was one of the exercises during the intention workshop with Kalpana. We wrote what we want because your brain starts to look for evidence.
Yes, it does.
And if you write, I don't want to feel, or if you say, I truly believe, and neuroscience shows it, that you're impacting your reality by pronouncing the words, by thinking. Pronouncing is even more impacting. So if you are continuing to discuss all these, horrible feelings and stuff more and more and more again and again and again and again, just propelling this fear, well, I believe it can create some tension for you.
It does create.
It does, yeah.
It surely does create, right? There's a difference between, oh my God, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And I'll say it a little differently. It is going to get better. Like, do you see the difference between the two? Like, there is such a difference between the two because in both cases, it's the feeling that drove it. And as a linguist, you understand how much feelings matter when you communicate.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I keep going back to the intention workshop and I keep laughing about it because even as a person who created that intention workshop, I realized how much the process of creation of your intention actually matters. Like, for example, I was trying to book a flight and I was like, I don't want to go through there. I don't want to go through there. And I ended up booking a flight and that flight is out of Dubai coming back via Abu Dhabi. And I'm like, what?
And the airports are closed and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Just so if we just do a summary, it's be conscious of what you want.
Yes.
Choose little opportunities to experience joy because there will be, like, look at us. This is the pure joy.
It is.
It's two women traveling abroad, living in different worlds, but just sharing this joy of being here together, creating something beautiful.
Indeed.
And putting the intention to share it with all of you.
I'm so grateful for this opportunity, Natalia. This was great. It turned out better than I expected it to turn out.
Shall we check the question that?
Yes, let's see if we answered
yeah.
all the questions. Yeah. Okay, let's look at it. How expats can stay grounded by global views.
Well, we talked about how we can stay grounded. I think everybody will have his own way to shift the paradigm. What I'm always asking and what I'm trying to do with my clients is I see the system they are using and I'm trying to put them in a different system. For example, if they are very logical and like
yes.
I am just looking at what the body does, or just saying, just trying to put them in a different sense mode. Mm-hmm. And it completely changes, the way your reaction is created. So what I'm saying, you know yourself better. We cannot know what helps you. Like you mentioned the cold bath. Yeah, some people will say, "Ooh, I never."
Yeah, no. It's just what worked for me. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, physical, switching your stress. Sorry, I'll start it again. There is a chemical process. When we get stressed, we've got this adrenaline and cortisol. Yeah. All these hormones which are needed, but when they stay for a longer time, it starts to be very what's costly for us. Yeah.
And it's
harmful. We don't need it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's harmful. So the only way to unchain this process is to do exercise. Well, I'm saying one way, probably not the only way, but one way.
One way.
One
and
way.
and I think what Natalia is trying to say over here is it's not like go and you have to hit hard. That is not the message over here.
no.
That you can
Pick
choose
any.
any movement that's going to
Dancing?
help you. Dancing is a great one. Somatic movements are great ones. Yoga is amazing. Breath work is amazing.
You
like
can just
there are
jump or
so
walk.
many.
Yeah.
Playing the drums, playing an instrument. Again,
yeah.
anything that takes you out of that cortisol mode, right?
Yeah.
So I really like this question that was asked, and the question said, whatever you're doing, is it serving your good?
Yeah.
Right? Say, for example, you are stressing about the conflict, or you're stressing about your job, or you're stressing about your health. Is it doing you good? If it is doing you good, continue it. But if it is not doing you good, maybe then you have to look at an alternate way of doing it. And I think we are all aware that listening to world events on a consistent basis increases cortisol spike.
Sure,
Now,
yeah.
the stress of thinking about it is going to increase that even more. So we got to ask ourselves this question, is that cortisol spike good for me in the long run? And if it isn't, then maybe what we need to do is we need to change that story and chase another narrative.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. I like it.
Right?
Yeah. Living abroad is already big change, big stress, big opportunities. We are certainly learning to be more flexible,
Yes.
even if we don't realize it. Being abroad teaches you at least one powerful skill, which is precious, is to be flexible.
I love that.
There are many, many more, and I would love you to think about what are you learning being an expat, an immigrant, a traveler, an explorer, whoever is listening to us, or somebody who is planning to move somewhere. What are you going to learn there? And the question to you, Kalpana, is what are we learning? What do you think we can be learning from this?
I think the biggest lesson that this has taught me, what is happening around the globe has taught me, is to slow down. That's my biggest takeaway, because the more I'm slowing down, the more I'm realizing that it's actually not that bad. I like to use the word bandwidth. It really gives me the bandwidth to be able to think. And the more I slow down is when I realize that I'm able to relax into this present moment. And Natalia, I messaged this to you a few days ago, right? And I said, I have been feeling such immense peace. I can't explain it. And I remember in one of my meditations feeling this immense gratitude, immense peace, and I remember giggling and thinking to myself in that moment, we are in the middle of conflict.
Bombs are flying over our heads.
Missiles are flying over our heads.
And Kalpana is laughing here.
I was giggling about it. And of course, the logical mind kicks in, and the logical mind is asking, like, okay, are you delirious? Are you in a state of complete delirium, complete denial with what is happening?
Is it a neurotic reaction?
Completely, right? That's exactly what I was asking myself, but I was able to come to an answer, and I think this is important, right? If I'm indeed delirious about it, and I still can feel peaceful during conflict, and if it serves my larger good, and if I'm able to make sane decisions for my family, or aid in my son who's here and my husband feeling settled, I think that delirium is fine. It's actually good. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure.
So let's ask ourselves this question. And I think that is my biggest takeaway from all of this, right? We can ask ourselves this question. My current state of being, is it serving my wellness and the wellness of my immediate loved ones? And honestly, I think I have been more of a support to the people who are outside this region than them being support to us.
Well, Oh, this is great.
This is great. Thank you,
Yeah,
Natalia.
yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm really hoping that the viewers get something out of this. And you can see that it is two of us from two completely different backgrounds, two different countries. We came together to record this for the benefit of people. And Natalia took the lead on this, and I'm immensely grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
I'm also so grateful. So what I'm learning during this very moment, because as I said, we lived through so many uncertainties with my husband, with my family, but this very moment, this week, it taught me, Natalia, there are still opportunities.
Yes.
And our podcast is proving it, that
Indeed.
okay, who told us that the world is a stable place in the first place? No one.
No one.
And as you could see, our life is changing, and there is a dynamic. There is always a dynamics. It's just whether you deny it or you see it, it doesn't matter. It will be going on. Things are going to happen, and it will impact your plans. So being flexible,
Yes,
and believing in there are opportunities there. Even if my working days are now 2 instead of 7 or 5, or whatever it is, I will choose what's important for me. And okay, I will take this joy, I will create things. I will impact this very moment or this world today. So it's learning, it's teaching me to pursue my vision. And also, what was the workshop about?
Intention.
Yes. So intention. What's my intention? What's my focus? What's my priority? Okay, my priority is to calm down. I love this one about slowing down.
Yes.
It's probably serving us a very good purpose and a present. We can look at it as a present.
It's a gift.
It's
Definitely.
a gift, yeah.
Definitely.
It just really makes us think about ourselves first, and then see what can I do with it. So
before I end, I have really this funny story to add, and I don't think Natalia has clued on to this. So I think one of the biggest things that it has taught, at least the two of us, is adaptability. We become very adaptable because this very podcast or this conversation between us was supposed to happen. Yeah, this beautiful conversation was supposed to happen on March 2nd. And then we realized, oopsie, something is happening in the world, so we can't have this conversation. So we go, okay, we postpone it, and then we roll with it. And today is March 7th, so it's 5 days late, but we both adapted. I remember it went so smoothly between us, right? It was like, oh, it can't happen. And the two of us go, yeah, it can't happen. Yeah. So it was a very adaptable, very mellow, let's take it easy conversation. Yeah. And I think that really does serve the purpose of lowering cortisol levels and realizing that our plans can change. Yeah. And it's okay, and we can just roll with it.
So what will be my new plan? What will be my new today joy? What will be, how will I take this lesson?
Indeed.
As a gift. So that was our podcast. That was our conversation. Podcast gives me this serious
vibe. Yes, it's a conversation.
It's a conversation that hopefully will be helpful for others. I'm very grateful to have, this opportunity to meet you, opportunity to share joy and probably a little bit of pain.
Yes.
Because we're all human. And honestly, it was just such a big contribution for today's day. You said you are writing this journal of, is it thankfulness?
Yes, I write a gratitude note every day.
Gratitude.
Yes, and I truly actually narrow into what I'm writing about. For example, I will actually say that, I know what my gratitude note for tomorrow will be. It'll have something to do with this conversation, because this, for me, was a very empowering conversation, and I'm very grateful for this. So I will actually write about it. Than saying, oh, I have a roof over my head, or I've got food on my table. Not that I'm not grateful for those things, but I don't want my brain to go, okay, you ate your food, you have a roof over your head, but you're fretting. So I like to get really intentional with how I'm actually grateful. And
just seeing these little steps that lead you to your.
And also, not only do I write a gratitude note every day, I also write an intention every day. And my intention is always about how I am living more fulfilled, I'm living more centered, I'm living an active life, and how I'm healthy, and my consumption. And by that what I mean is, I'm not talking about the water levels, or I'm not talking about the amount of protein, I'm talking about any consumption, how it is actually serving my good. And honestly, when I think about time consumption that has happened in the past hour, I think this is a great consumption because it actually aids my wellness.
Great. I think that's the right place
Right?
to finish this nice conversation. What I wanted to say, thank you, we've done it.
We
well
did
done.
it. Well done.
And also, probably we'll share the context of you and me just under this podcast so that you can
Definitely.
reach out to us, because we're both working for your wellness abroad.
Indeed.
And we are happy to share the joy and also to diminish, to lessen your stress if you need to.
Definitely.
So just don't hesitate to reach out to us, to write your comments, your thoughts, and stay tuned. There might be
More.
the second and the third and the fourth, also depending on is it interesting for you, what does it make you feel like, and just put any comments you've got and text us. We'll be happy to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was Natalia and Kalpana. See you.